my name is Keely Casey, and I will be going to the Getty Center today to check out the Sally Mann exhibit with the rest of my art class. So I thought, why not take y'all along with me, and without further ado, So, I am now back from the museum, from the Getty. It was a really long day, but it was really good. I think the Sally Mann exhibit was probably my favorite, but I'll get into that in a second. Sorry if my voice sounds off. I am a little bit sick, so that's probably why. Ouch. I'm gonna be taking off my makeup and kind of going over what I thought of the kind of things that I saw at the museum, mostly because I feel like I would really like this video to be somewhat educational, somewhat encouraging to go to museums, other than just to like snap a picture out front and, you know, put to your Instagram and say, oh, I've been to the Getty and all that. Yeah, so I actually have a good quote from that, from a book we're reading for class, called, let me find you, Reproducibility and Appropriation in the 20th Century by Melissa Gronlund. And she says a quote that I think really rings true to social media in this kind of day and age, is that, these are my own words first, people take photos and then, quote, to prove one has been there, not to obtain an image of the site itself. And, end quote. And I think that that's really true for a lot of people, is that they tend to take photos to say, oh, I've been to this place, oh, I've been to the Eiffel Tower, which is the example that she used. I've been to the Eiffel Tower. And it's not to say that, oh, all technology is bad and taking photos ruins the moment, you know. But at the same time, I think it's good to analyze motivations as far as why are people going to museums, and museums especially, mostly just because I just went to a museum. But yeah, I don't know. So I wanted to make this a little bit more informative type. I have some tea with me. And I wanted to talk about my favorite exhibition outside of the Sally Mann exhibit, but when going, because I didn't expect to love the Sally Mann. I'm not a huge lover of photography. I just love the haunting gothic, the like Southern Gothic style of it, and just staring at them and looking at them. It was pretty crowded at the museum, so I don't know. There's something to be said about going to the place and seeing the photos, the prints of them up close. But then there's also something to be said about buying the catalog, you know, shelling out, was it like $50 or something to get the catalog of those beautiful pictures yourself to flip through them as like a coffee table book. It'd be a spooky coffee table book, but if you're into that. And then as well as the catalog on her family, and all of those photos were amazing. The Getty actually describes Sally Mann, talks about how Sally Mann's relationship with the American South has shaped her work. Hauntingly beautiful photographs. A friend of mine, and while we were there, we were talking about how the hauntingly beautiful description is really good for this particular place, just because the photos were amazing, and the way that they were edited, and the chemical, and the black and white, not even black and white, they were just like on a silver print. It's a special kind of old photography. Let me see. Oh yeah. Reveals how Sally Mann, her photographs, reveals how she probes themes like family, morality, and landscape as a repository of personal and collective memory. This is all from the Getty's website. And I think the kids and the hauntingly beautiful Southern Gothic photographs were completely different in my eyes. One, because her family, a lot of the pictures were done in color, and she definitely utilized that pop of color with some of the, like, I think it was her son with a bloody nose, or like her daughter, and there were like these red flowers in the background, and that was so beautiful. But there was something to be said about the ferality, I don't think that's a word, but the feralness of childhood and being a child and being able to kind of go crazy, go wild before all that socialization, you know, where you're just naked running through the woods. And she really captured that really, really well. And it was hard to look away, you know, at some of these photographs. I think especially for me, the Southern Gothic ones, just because, you know, it just made me think of so many ideas for like a fantasy story or something, you know, those ghost stories that people tell. And I think that's perfect, honestly, the backdrop. Oh my goodness, especially with the history of the Civil War. She took a lot of photos at battlegrounds, and you know, and those have its own type of history, and that definitely affects the photograph. I almost said painting. The photograph, and they're almost seem like paintings with the way that she manipulates them and uses chemicals to change their composition almost. Or we watched a video on her making in her progress, and it was talking about how she waited for the angel of uncertainty, you know, and she was quoting Proust and how he wanted the angel of certainty, and she was kind of opposite, and how she had to wait for and to find the angel of uncertainty to kind of mess up the work, but mess it up in a perfect way. And I think that that's more difficult to find in digital photography. You know, I was talking with my classmates, and we were going on about how in digital photography, like say Photoshop, it's more difficult to make a mistake in that way. Whereas in this old photography, you know, when you have the silver film and the or the silver printing and the glass and this chemical that was like used for glue for like war wounds, but it was used for to spread out this iodine looking chemical, and the way that like dust alone settling on it can, you know, mess up, quote unquote, mess up the photo. But that's what Sally Mann was looking for, you know, in her photos, was to have, and sometimes she manipulated it herself, like where she manually, you know, like would sprinkle dust. And it looks like I got everything. Maybe not. Any more about, death, mortality, memory? There's a lot packed in these photographs. It is interesting to see other people's perspectives. I love talking to, you know, kind of whisper talking because you're in a museum, but talking to my classmates and getting their takes on it, just because I feel like it's crazy. Like two people will see the same photograph and see such different things, and it's strange. But overall, I was just massively impressed by the Sally Mann exhibit. I have to say, I wasn't a huge fan of photography, so going in, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it so much, but wow, my mind has been changed, and I'm really grateful. And I wanted to say thank you so much, Helen, my art professor, of course. Thank you so much for allowing us and for facilitating this event in a way. This field trip, I love it. I think definitely more and more colleges should do it. And to tie back to the beginning, I think more and more people should go to museums and take all the pictures they'd like, but also to, of course, make sure you're learning something. A museum is a secular place. It is a place of learning in a way, and I think it's good to get other people's opinions on it and talk about it and make a whole day of it. But I think as long as you're getting something educational out of it, and that's just my opinion, and that doesn't mean you have to be a changed person every time you enter and leave a museum. It's just, I think you know what I mean. I think I've explained my point, but yeah, so thank you so much. So I just wanted to add that if you have been to the Getty, or if you've been to any museum, that please put in the comments below what was your favorite exhibit there, or what do you think really impacted you or changed you. It could just even be your favorite exhibit. It could be the ramen noodle exhibit from the LACMA. Honestly, anything. I would really appreciate it. Just put it down in the comments below, and I would love to hear from you guys. So thank you so much.